Hey, what is going on, everybody? In today's video, I want to talk about the upcoming Multiple Man event campaign X Factor Investigations alongside the Super Sleuth tag and take a look at some of the characters that will be good to use for this event, which as of the recording of this event as of recording of this video, doesn't quite have a start time, but really I would be surprised if it is much past next Monday, because we're really starting to get on with this patch with only Silver Surfer out so far, but that's a completely separate conversation to have. This video is largely going to be aimed at the early and mid-game players, and if you're a late-game player, it's very unlikely that you even need to listen to me or anyone else to tell you how to do the campaign character events, as I'm sure you have most of the characters leveled up enough to do this. But for everyone else, I hopefully that some of this helps. So without further ado, let's get this show started. Alright, so the first thing that I do whenever I look at a new campaign event and the character tags, in this case it's the Super Sleuth limited tag trait, whatever you want to call them, I always go through the list and I kind of look at, obviously it doesn't really matter too much for me. I'm always going to have some sort of team available to do this, but not everyone else will. And if you're running the medium difficulty, you're going to need at least 3 Super Sleuth, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. And for hard mode, you need a full team of 5 at least to do this. Now, in terms of the characters that you should look to taking, there are some pretty obvious choices, but I do want to separate these from sort of early game, mid game, and late game choices. So this will vary depending on where you're at in the game and how long you've been playing, and there's quite a bit of obvious choices, but not so many that are obvious in terms of being able to get them as a newer player. And depending on when you started the game, that really makes a difference too. So characters like, there's some pretty obvious standouts, which I don't have them favorited at the moment, but characters like Shatterstar, Longshot's in here as well, those two obviously, which are X Factor characters, Red Guardian, which is a really strong character as well, Bishop, Kitty Pryde, part of the Astonishing X-Men. I would not recommend any of these 3 at the bottom, Mantis, Aim Infector, or Aim Researcher, unless you're super desperate, so I haven't really included them. And obviously, interestingly, you can actually use Multiple Man to clear the event. If you buy the offer, you can use Multiple Man to clear his own event. And the fact that Polaris is going to be in here as well suggests that Polaris's offer will be available sometime during this event. Normally, campaign events are 15 days in duration. That's normally how it is. So at some point, at the very least, the offer for Polaris will be available. I highly doubt that she'll be available free to play, though. Normally, it's just the pay to unlock for that. So in terms of the characters that I think are best recommended for early game players are some of the ones that I have here with the heart symbols. Now, they're kind of a little bit random, because usually you never get full synergy with these limited tags, but there are some pretty obvious standouts, and I'll start from the top. And so Ghost is a bit of a I guess it depends on what your definition of an early and mid-game player is, but Ghost is available in the War Store. She is a very highly meta right now in terms of Dark Dimensions, so in terms of investment, you won't go wrong with being able to get Ghost, but she is a 100 shard unlock, so if you are a newer player, you're going to have to invest some war credits into that. Minerva is the next one on the list. She is a very solid support healer, so in terms of being able to get through the nodes and having that support and healing functionality, Minerva tops that list as well. Unfortunately, also in the War Star, because go figure, most of the good characters these days, or characters that you need to get shards for events, typically tend to be in the War Store these days. But I do want to mention that anyways. Loki is another good solid character here. He is available in the Mystic campaign, so to me that's still part of the early game. It is Mystic 3-6, but I think that is still viable if you need another character. He's a good support character as well. Quake and Black Widow. So Black Widow probably is more meta here than Quake, but I do want to kind of mention Quake anyways. I don't know how much people actually collect shards for her these days, but she is a shield character and she does synergize well with Black Widow if you need a second character. She used to be one of the strongest characters in the game back when the game was early, because she does have a 2-turn slow on her basic, which, while it doesn't do a ton of damage, its control functionality is very, very strong still. But I know a lot of people, because she's bio, that a lot of people don't actually invest much in her, but I do want to kind of point her out anyways from that perspective. Black Widow From the star list, is probably one of the better ones next to Minerva and Ghost. Black Widow is very highly meta right now with the Wave 1 Avengers, and this is a very solid start for characters in the early, players in the early game and the mid game by sharding up and gearing up Black Widow. So this is definitely a good investment here for this event. Not to mention her camouflage tech does give her speed up to all allies on a 60% chance if they're not Avenger or Shield, but still very good, very solid character, so definitely recommend using that as part of your Super Sleuth kit. Beast recently became farmable, so I do want to point him out here as another support healer. There is quite a few of these supporty kind of healer types, but which is good. I do want to point out Beast because of the Astonishing X-Men patch recently, so he does have that sort of meta position there, and he's very easily farmable in Nexus 5-6. So this is very easy to get for newer players, so that's why I wanted to point that one out there. Not huge on damage, but very good in the support functionality. Ghost Rider, if you need some extra damage, he isn't super meta, but he's in this weird position where I think he's a very strong character, even in his standalone, but I know not everyone gears him. He is a Mystic character, though, so kind of easy to put some gear into if you need another Super Sleuth character. He is found in Cosmic 3-9, so this is a little bit easier to get at than Loki is. So if in terms of characters that are easily farmable, Black Widow, Quake, Beast for sure, and then you could just go Minerva and Ghost if you have access to the War Store and you have them unlocked. I think Minerva, did she get bumped down to a 45 shard unlock? I kind of forget now. I think she did, but please correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong and she's 100 shards still. I thought she got a bump down to 45. But otherwise, it really depends on what characters you have available. If you do have Shatterstar and Longshot, by all means, you know, they are X-Factor characters and they're going to be, they're really, really, really strong. Some other ones I didn't really mention here, Squirrel Girl, because she is available in Doom Chapter 2, so that's pretty late game, and I didn't really want to bring that up. Jessica Jones, the defenders have kind of like fallen off the wayside here. Cable, if you're building X-Force and you happen to have him, that's fine. Spider-Man, very unlikely that people are leveling him up these days, especially early and mid-game players. Graviton, probably not doing this too much. Nick Fury, even though he is made available in permanently now with the Legendary campaign, still not a huge priority. Agent Coulson, also similarly, you know, people really aren't building S.H.I.E.L.D. that much these days. Red Guardian is another really good one. If you do happen to have him unlocked, I would try and include him. He is really good as a tank character and has a really solid kit. But some of these other ones, you know, Yelena, Psylocke, Ironheart, Daredevil, again, same reason Daredevil about Defenders has kind of fallen off. Uncanny X-Men has really fallen off. Ironheart, Power is not a really early game priority. Stature, maybe. But, you know, even that, a lot of these characters are really pushing it. Bishop and Kitty Pryde are not available to farm, so if you do happen to have them, that's great. You can include them as well if you'd like to. Alongside Beast, actually, those three will work very well because all three of them are Astonishing X-Men. So if you do have them, that's great. I would try and do that. And maybe with something like Longshot and Shatterstar, if you do happen to have them, again, a lot of this is going to depend on who you have unlocked. So I didn't want to star some of the characters that I felt are harder to get shards for because they have no farmable position, but they are very solid characters. So Bishop, Kitty Pryde, Longshot, Red Guardian, Shatterstar, these are all very solid characters and some of the better ones for this event, but unfarmable. So for early game and mid game players, this probably isn't too feasible. And so I would say the ones with the hearts, the favorites, are definitely the more feasible ones, but do include some of these other ones if you do have them. Overall, the events normally aren't too hard themselves. I think normally if you have about a 25-30k character power for each of them, usually is sufficient for the hard mode, unless some campaign events are a little bit trickier than others, but I would say that's the average, so like 120 to 150k team power normally is sufficient to get all the way through to the end level for the hard mode campaigns. This just varies from campaign to campaign a little bit, but normally it's not too hard of a struggle. So I just wanted to point these out for the characters that are available for this event and kind of point out some that are easier than others and some who are better than others in terms of what you'll want to be looking out for this event. So I hope that this helps, and you know, if you have any other concerns or if you think that there's something that I missed out, then please leave that in the comments below. Hopefully we'll be getting the Shatterstar multiple man event pretty soon. We don't even have the offer yet, and actually I'd really love to pull some red stars for him, so hopefully we get that coming soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe today, who knows, because really I have no idea what's going on in Scopely's brain anymore. But Anyways, hopefully we get that so we can add the third member to the X Factor team that's already super powerful, and we can start building this up some more. So, thanks everyone for watching, and until next time, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.